Mr. Dabalina, Mr. Bob Dabalina, Mr. Dabalina, Mr. Bob Dabalina.
You're listening to Late Night Radio on the SHR Media Network. Caution, there will be mature themes explored and potentially adult language used. If conservatarian words, phrases, certain concepts, or rhetoric offends you, tune out now.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Leftist lies and globalists, I'm pushing them back. From the saloon to the airwaves, I'm spitting it raw. Constitution's my compass, liberty's law. Big gods creeping, shadows on the land. Feds with the schemes trying to bind up my hands. But I'm the Sherpa, guiding through the storm. Red, white, and blue, yeah, freedom's reborn. They spin their tails, but I see through the haze. Media maggots, lost in the maze. I'm calling it out, no fear in my soul. This patriot's fire ain't losing control. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Freedom's calling. Leftist judges twisted, trying to steal our rights, but I'm locked and loaded, got them in my sights. From J6 to the border, they're selling us out. I'm screaming from the mountain, hear my rebel shout. They mock the flag, but I'm holding it high. Stars and stripes forever under God's open sky. No globalist chains gonna cage this land. I'm the Sherpa with the truth in my hand. They push their agenda, but I'm breaking the mold. Their promises empty, their hearts ice cold. Chicago's bleeding, borders torn apart. I'm fighting for the people with the warrior's heart. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight. Torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Storms, I've walked the line, 41 years, badge on the grind, now I'm on the air, my voice like a blade, cutting through the lies that the traitors made. Hurricanes rage, but we're standing tall, sheriffs of the Constitution answering the call. From the saloon to the heart of the fray, we're taking back America, no more delay. Conservative Sherpa leading the fight, torch in the dark, burning bright in the night. Stand for the truth, won't bow to the game. Sherpas, come and remember my name. Sherpas rising. Static, hear my voice resound. Conservative Sherpa, freedom's battleground. Berserk, Bobcat, Rose will never kneel. For God and country, this fight is real.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to BZ's Berserk Bobcat Saloon radio show, live and direct from the SHR Media Studios here in Nofe, Idaho. N-O-F-E, Idaho. I am this guy. I am your conservative Sherpa. I actually have a banner for that, indicating that my job is to guide you through the insidious maelstrom of Democrat, leftist, and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, tyranny, and betrayal. That's why you come here, to watch, listen, and learn, grasshopper. And I have, I have to tell you that what you're going to hear for the next 2 hours consists of my opinion and my opinion only. and those of my guests, and I happen to have some great guests tonight. If you've been watching the social media, you know who I have. You know who you want. You know who you love and adore, and it's Amy Curtis in the first hour, and it's Rick Robinson in the second hour. But there's something very unusual going on with Rick Robinson because for whatever reason, people want to tax him. I don't understand it. Anyway, we'll talk about that later in the second hour with Rick. But before I go on, this is the show intro. I'm going to be talking to Amy Curtis. And before we, I tell you what, normally I go through the litany of all the rest of that stuff. Let's just put Amy on right now and talk to Amy. Now, this is interesting because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it's my privilege to introduce for the very first time in the Saloon, the ubiquitous Amy Curtis, who can be heard on KLRN, and with whom I had the distinct pleasure of meeting last Friday on KLRN's Weekend News Roundup with Rick Robinson. Now, I have a goal for tonight for the first hour for Amy. She doesn't know about it, so don't tell her, okay? My goal is, what I hope to do tonight is to draw Amy Curtis out of her reticent shell to see if I can actually get some opinions and information out of her. She spent most of the time on last Friday's show with Rick on the roundup, just not saying much and not doing any. What I suspect was happening is she was basically buffing her parakeet and examining stock trades because she was otherwise so really quiet. So now whether I attain this goal or not, I don't know. But in any event, Amy Curtis, will you have opinions tonight?
I will have opinions tonight. Thank you so much for having me on. I am honored to join you. And anybody who has followed me on Twitter for X, whatever, I've been on for 11 years now, knows I'm not shy. I have a mouth and an internet connection, and I use both of them.
Oh, jeez. And also, thanks to all the people that are in chat. Sean is in chat. I can't scroll up. So O2AMT is in chat. I could have sworn that I saw Mission Ready Men in chat. I can't. I have no brain, so I don't remember all the people. Like I say, you can see chat in the lower right-hand corner of this over here. I can't point because otherwise it goes into Amy's square over there. And there certainly will not be any violations. There will be demerits if it does occur, and it can't and it won't. So in any event, those are all the people that are in chat, and I thank you very much. And Sean said in chat, and I can barely read it. Oh, so fine. Amy gets a nice introduction. Where's my nice introduction? No. So anyway, Amy, I was going to do, because, it's my show. Shit changes. I was going to do the carousel of amusing GURP. I'm not going to do that right now.
All right.
What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do this and then ask you something. Well, first,
okay.
This is where you can be found. Folks, if you're on X, go here and you can find her slot on the internet at Ranty Amy Curtis, Somehow that belies the reticent shell thing that I was implying earlier. And also, any other places, Amy Curtis, that you want us to know about in terms of where you have some hooks in the internet, social media, that kind of thing?
Definitely townhall.com, where I write every day during the weekend, sometimes on the weekends as well. That is my second home. So check out what I write there because I write a lot and I really, really love what I do.
Well, folks, if you think I have the proof that she writes a lot, you would be right. Now, I didn't know that you had originally written at Twitchy, but Twitchy was, I guess, apparently sad-faced that you're joining Town Hall, which intimates to me that you'd been writing for some time at Twitchy.
Yeah, I was working as a nurse, and in the fall of 2023, I was looking for a way to write. My background is in English. I have a undergrad and a master's degree in English with an emphasis on professional writing. I wanted to be a journalist. Then you get married, you have kids, and the thought of going to Afghanistan and dying in a cave covering a war loses its appeal. So I did office jobs, got my master's degree, toyed with teaching, which didn't work for a variety of reasons. 2016, 2017 went through a divorce, realized I needed a job that would support me and my kids. So I actually went back to nursing school. And most people on Twitter know that. And I still have my nursing license. I worked as a nurse from 2017 until 2024 when I left the last gig for reasons we won't dive into here. And I just was looking for something to be creative and write. And I've always been a big Twitchy reader. When they were looking for writers, I applied. I was honored that Sam hired me, loved what I did. And when I left the nursing job in July of 2024, I freelanced for that from July 2024 until September of last year when I got the job at Town Hall. And now I actually have a real job.
Cool. That supports all the things that you need supported.
Supports everything. I absolutely love it.
Oh,
yeah.
Damn it, Jim. That's like the best of all possible things. Now, okay, you opened a certain door.
Mm-hmm.
I will walk through it very briefly, as daintily as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
You got, I think you said, divorced in 2017, right around in there.
Yeah.
Were you perchance married to a cop?
I was not.
Okay, because that was the source of my divorce.
Mm-hmm.
I was married to a nurse, put her through nursing school. So I won't go any further into that, but I just had to ask. So you already mentioned a little bit of this. Give us, before we get into the meat of the matter, the gristle that you're here to expound to us tonight. Tell us a little bit about your background, where you were raised and that kind of stuff.
I was born
in Wisconsin, right?
I am in Wisconsin, and I'm sure listeners can hear the accent. I get that all the time. I was born and raised in the Milwaukee area, went to Greenfield High School, graduated now 25 years ago in June. Went to Alverno College, Mount Mary College for graduate school, went to nursing school. So I've been in Southeast Wisconsin all of my life.
Okay. And then after that, your whole shindig seems to revolve, well, nursing, then writing, I guess, writing first, perhaps. How did you get interested in writing? I mean, did that start when you were a small tyke or what?
I've always been interested in writing. And if you ask me how I learned to write, I think it's because I read a lot as a child.
Ditto.
You couldn't keep me away from books. You couldn't keep me away from the library. My parents took us to the library every week, and I read as much as I could. And I think that's where I learned to write. And I feel bad that I'm not going to remember her name. When I was in 8th grade, we had a long-term sub because my English teacher was out on maternity leave. And this sub nominated me to go to a writer's workshop at the Milwaukee Art Museum. And it was this big event, this whole day event where everybody got together, and it was writers, it was artists, it was filmmakers. And we all sat at the art museum and we just created. And we have a book, and I couldn't find it, but I know I've got it in my house, where all of our artwork was compiled. And that's where the writing thing kind of just was cemented in me, that I wanted to do this. And I went and studied English, and I've got the student loans to prove it. But then, like I said, the practicalities of marriage and motherhood, I didn't get to pursue writing as a career. I always used the skills in my job, and even in the nursing job, there was a lot of need for communication and clear writing and effective, emails, those kind of things. But I never earned a living writing until now. And that's what I've always meant to do. And it only took me 25 years to get there.
Oh, okay. No problem. So let me ask you this. Did you identify fairly early that you were going to be a writer or a nurse? Did you know what you were going to do?
A writer was always what I wanted to do. Nursing, as much as I liked it, and as I think I was fairly decent at it, that was, I don't want to say a desperation career, but this is the responsible thing to do because I need to be able to pay my bills and support my kids as I go through this divorce. So it was a practical thing, more than my calling is to be a nurse. But I did like it. I worked long-term acute care, short-term acute care, and then for the last several years, I did home hospice.
So when you were a writer, or when you decided, hey, I want to be a writer, Was there any kind of category or thing? Did you want to be a fiction novelist, a nonfiction novelist? Did you want to be a columnist? Did you want to be a journalist? What did you have your sights set on?
I went to college planning to be a journalist because I figured writing fiction and that sort of thing was really hard to break into. My mom always said I should be a children's author, and when Harry Potter came out, she said, "Look, you could do this and be as famous as J.K. Rowling." She really overestimates my talent. But that never just clicked for me. I would try fiction writing and it didn't work. And then as I was in college, like most college students for a while, I was a little bit liberal. And 2004 was my first presidential election where I could vote. And I was going to vote, God forgive me, for John Kerry because I was a liberal. Everybody was telling me Bush was awful. He was going to bring back the draft. And then I was dating the man who would become my husband at the time. And he said, "Here's the bill to bring back the draft. Look who is sponsoring this." And it was all Democrats. And that was like the light bulb moment where I went, if they were lying about this, what else are they lying about? And the rest was history. Like, I fell really hard into conservative politics. And then I found writing about politics came really naturally to me because I knew what I believed, what I stood for. It was easy to find the evidence to support my arguments. And that's when the writing really started to flow. And that's when I realized that's what I wanted to do.
And so you just took my next question, which is, how did you get to be a conservative? With me, it was getting a full-time job and looking at my first series of paychecks and saying something very similar to, "Holy fuck, what are these things called taxes?" And then that kind of changed me after there. But you said, your mom said, you has a books in you. Well, this is weird. You has a book in you.
I did. It wasn't the children's book she wanted me to write,
No,
but it was a book, and I am very proud of it.
but here it is, folks. So you can get it at Amazon, or I'm guessing Barnes and Noble, or wherever. books are sold.
Only Amazon.
Oh,
It
okay.
was self-published on Amazon. Unless somebody out there knows a publisher who wants to pick it up, call me because I'm more than happy to shop it around.
Okay, so very cool. You self-published.
Mhm.
Hugh Howey, who wrote Silo, was self-published originally on Amazon. Then he exploded. The guy that wrote The Martian was self-published on Amazon, and then he exploded. So here's your book, Gaslight. Now, the Democrat Party lost its mind to radical leftism and abuses voters in the process. So, Amy Curtis, tell us a little bit about this book. How come, why, for you wrote this book?
It really came from the writing I did at Twitchy and then Town Hall, where I was seeing all these stories, writing all these stories of the things Democrats said and did, and the way that they hurt voters, despite the fact Democrats would say, we care about women, we care about the working class, we care about children. They don't. They don't. On every issue I touch upon, women's issues, trans issues, we're seeing it now, and this is going to segue beautifully into Minnesota, where the Democrats tell their voters Donald Trump and ICE are the Gestapo, Nazis, Hitler, go out and do something to stop them. And it's gotten one woman killed and another person shot. And then there was the guy, and I don't remember his name, who got the non-lethal projectile to the face and is now blind in one eye. And the Democrat, I mean, don't get me wrong, they're all adults and they all made these choices, but the Democrats drove them to do this. And I don't see Jacob Frey out there taking a bullet to the face, like a non-lethal projectile to the face. I don't see Tim Walz, hitting ICE agents with a shovel. They're telling these people to go do these things. And it's just this cycle of, we're going to say whatever we need to win the next election. And we don't care how many people get hurt in the process, even our own voters.
Well, they don't mind encouraging people to get in the fray, but that's okay because they, oddly enough, have their own security contingents. And they're not going to place themselves. They have peons to do that for them. So when you get this book, I'm guessing that the gist of this is kind of a little bit of a litany as to how I got to be where I am today, because here's me delineating all of these things.
It's less about me and more about, these are all the reasons why we shouldn't trust Democrats with power. They repeatedly lie to us. I touch on COVID, and COVID is a very sensitive issue for me. My father died in April of 2020 from kidney failure. He was a Vietnam veteran who served his country, worked hard his entire life. I don't want to say we had to throw him in the ground, but basically we had to throw him in the ground. We weren't allowed to have a funeral. They allowed, and I use that term very loosely, 10 people to be at the cemetery, and then we had to stand 10 feet apart. My kids couldn't stand by me. Then at the time he was my ex-husband was there, couldn't stand by me. I had to stand alone by the casket because there was a guy there yelling, stay 10 feet apart, stay 10 feet apart. And not even 3 months later, George Floyd had 3 or 4 funerals, and they were crowded, and everybody got to mourn this guy. And all of that is what drove me to write this book. So these are the big issues that the Democrats are hypocrites on, that they gaslight us on. The Constitution is great when Trump is in power, but when we have power, we need to abolish the Constitution. That kind of duplicitous behavior, that gaslighting, that no, we didn't mean this, we didn't say that, we actually meant this. And the voters, even the Democratic base, who I obviously disagree with on a variety of things, suffer because of what the Democrats say and do. And they don't seem to care. And it's getting worse. And it's not really a new thing, but it is an exacerbated thing. Because I remember in 2000, before Bush won, I had a friend who swore up and down, if Bush wins, you're not going to be allowed to go to college because he's going to make it illegal for women to go to college. So that crazy has existed for a while, but it seems like every day now it's worse and more extreme. I don't know if it's because social media is so prevalent and we see it in real time, and if things were always that way, or if things really have gotten worse.
Okay, let me see if I understand this correctly. Your father passed away. You go to a funeral. There is actually an individual there at the funeral who tells you to distance, and I'm guessing to what? Wear a mask?
We didn't have to wear a mask because the graveside service was outdoors. It was tax day, ironically, and it was cold and windy. We didn't have to wear masks. I'd have to go back and look at the timeline for that. I don't think the mask mandate was in place in Wisconsin at that point, but it was shortly thereafter because things changed. I remember distinctly my son's birthday is early March. We went out, celebrated his birthday. That entire time, we're not going to shut down. We're not going to shut down. We're not going to shut down. That Friday, we had dinner reservations to celebrate his birthday. That Friday, they shut down. And Tony Evers, our governor, who really, I think, was a puppet for his chief of staff, Maggie Gao, was constantly moving the goalposts and constantly changing things. So I don't remember if the mask mandate was in place, but I do remember this guy because the social distancing was in order, and we couldn't, it was 4 of us in the funeral home for the viewing. My mom, 5 of us, my mom, my kids, and me. And then they let my brother, his friend, and my ex come to pay their respects, but we couldn't be in the same room, and we couldn't have a normal visitation. We had a service for him June of 2022.
Isn't that the crucial word, let?
Mm-hmm.
How do you let someone go somewhere outside? I'm sure that you're sufficiently infuriated now, knowing what we know.
Mm-hmm.
But to have all of that crap predicated but upon lie after lie after lie, were you incensed then, or did you kind of think of it as an inconvenience because we didn't know every damn thing that we do now?
No, because at the time I was working in an acute care hospital. So I know COVID was around before March of 2020 or 2020, excuse me, because I was really sick end of December, beginning of January. We got the flu. Everybody on my unit got the flu. And then a couple of weeks later, end of January, around my birthday, there were these episodes where I would have really trouble breathing. My chest felt tight. If I would try to talk, I would cough. If I laughed, I would end a coughing fit. I'd have fevers and body aches that just wouldn't go away. They tested me for flu and it was negative. I would bet my kidneys that was COVID back then. But they cleared out my unit on the hospital saying it was going to be ICU overflow. We never saw a single patient on that unit.
See, you just opened a door that unless I had other things, unless I had the time, well, shit, let me just ask you right now. I'd honestly, as a nurse, I would love to have you come back and just talk and address those things,
Mhm.
because we had video splayed all across every screen, how every hospital was swamped, the bodies were stacked. Well, for a while they were. If
Mhm.
anybody remembers, there was a refrigerated truck literally stacked with bodies in the city of New York.
Mhm.
There's so many stories in that. Oh my God. Amy
Yeah.
Curtis, would you come back?
Absolutely.
Lost,
Absolutely.
if nothing to talk about that.
Yep, absolutely, because my experience here was vastly different than what happened in most other places. And actually, I shouldn't say it, in just a few other places. I think my experience was the norm. And I think we saw that in the dancing TikTok videos and everything else. So yes, it's a date. We will come back and do that.
You may not know, but when a guest makes a point, that's what the guest gets, because that nails it right there. Oh my God. Okay. Yes. We have
Yes,
agreement. You will
we
be
will.
back. Oh,
Sounds
Lord.
good.
That's fabulous. Okay. So let me go back. And folks, this is the book that's out, which I keep was released, Amy Curtis, December last year.
December 1st. Yeah, the hard copy and the paperback dropped December 1st. The Kindle dropped a little bit before that because obviously it's easier for Amazon to throw that out there electronically.
Right.
And I've seen the friends of mine who have ordered it. I've seen it. It's a big book, but I started it, I want to say April of last year. Sent a draft to my boyfriend. He said it was really good, and that inspired me to keep going. And I just wrote, and I think I wrapped it up. I had to hard and fast, like September 5th was like my cutoff date for I can't keep editing this. I can't keep adding to this because every day there were new examples. And then, of course,
You'd never stop.
I would never stop. No, and I could probably do a volume 2, to be completely honest with you. And I'm toying with that idea, and I've got another idea in the works that I definitely want to pursue related to the healthcare field.
You might. I see. I tell certain people, there's a dude I know named Lonnie Poindexter. I say, I keep saying to Lonnie, dude, you have a book in you. Go do it. Well, you clearly have one, maybe two, maybe
yeah, I think I've
three.
got a few more.
So a couple of quick questions because of the self-publishing. Number one, I want to note, whoever did that cover, whether it's you or somebody else, nicely done.
That was me. I picked the colors. I picked the picture. It was what Amazon gave me to work with. And I did the best that I could because I wanted to get this book out before the midterms. I would have loved in an ideal world to shop it to publishers to get, and let's not be real, in advance and have it published like the majority of books. But more than I wanted to get it out before the midterms and get people to read it and get people to talk about it because, like I said, there's so much in there. And I think I ended up with almost 1,000 footnote citations for all the things that I pointed out and pulled. And it was all from my work with Twitchy and my experiences on X and my work a little bit with Town Hall, because I said I kind of cut the book off when I started working with Town Hall in September. And then, unfortunately, we all know Charlie Kirk got assassinated. I think it was September 10th. So I went back in and added a chapter about that because I couldn't not address
You
that.
couldn't not do it because
Yeah.
it was there right in front of your face.
Yeah, and it was
something of great significance.
yeah, and it was, as somebody who believes in what Charlie Kirk believed in and somebody who wants to share those ideas and debate with people, it hit very, very close to home and was very, very scary and very, very sad. So I added that to the book.
I didn't know him. I did not know Charlie Kirk, and I did not know Charlie Kirk was associated with TPUSA. Then later when I found out, I said this to Rick Robinson, and we're going to take a break here in just a moment, folks. When we come back, this is Amy Curtis, by the way. When we come back, we're going to dig into the moist gristle of wonderful politics. It affected me, and both Rick and I said, why him? Why him? Should have been me. I'm a 76-year-old piece of crap. Why am I still around? And a good dude like this, he goes away. Folks, I'm talking to Amy Curtis and IMBZ in the Saloon, and we'll be right back after this. And now's a perfect time. Take a break.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
In a world where leftists are running out of metal for the safety pins of their soothing red diapers, One man stands alone, attempting to fundamentally change America, one leftist diaper at a time. BZ, your conservative Sherpa, is guiding you through the maelstrom of Democrat leftists and globalist lies, chaos, deceit, and betrayal. Listen to BZ Saloon on select and exclusive Tuesday and Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, and 11 p.m. Eastern on the SHR Media YouTube channel, Twitch, KLRN, Rumble, and X at BZ Saloon. It's one great late-night conservatarian talk radio show. Be there. Aloha.
Hello, friends. You have a moment so that we may discuss our Lord and Savior Minarchy? No, seriously, I'm just kidding. Hi, my name is Rick Robinson. I am the general manager of KLRNradio.com. We are probably the largest independent podcast network that you've never heard of. We have a little bit of everything, and by that, what I mean to tell you is we have news, pop culture, special events, conspiratainment, true crime, mental health shows, drama productions, and pretty much everything in between. So if you're looking for a new podcast home to grab a little bit of everything that you love all in one place, come check us out. You can find us on X under @KLRN You can find us on our Rumble and our YouTube channels under the same names. You can also find us at KLRNradio.com and pretty much every podcast catcher known to man. So again, feel free to come check us out anytime you like at KLRN Radio.
It's Sean from the Edge of Liberty. Just like the Bidens, I too am moving. Only in my case, it's days and times. That's right, you can now find the Edge of Liberty Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, and Wednesday at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 Eastern on the SHR Media Network. Join me as we talk politics, news, alcohol, fun, not so much fun, clowns, small kittens, large kittens, dogs, amoebas, and anything else that just pops into my mind while I'm on the air. That is Monday and Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific, 11 on the East Coast, on YouTube, X, KLRN Radio, Facebook, Twitch, and anywhere else a good podcast is found. Please check out our website, shrmedia.com. I will see you live on the air.
Attention, all patriotic women of faith. Yep, I'm talking to you, sis. Are you looking for high-quality, super soft apparel that reflects your love for country and your devotion to God? Look no further than Carry Girl Gear. Picture this. You rocking a tee so soft it's like being hugged by a cloud, all while showing off your love for God and country. Sounds dreamy, right? Well, welcome to reality, babes, because that's what we're all about here at Carry Girl Gear. We specialize in super soft tees, tanks, and more, designed specifically for the strong, patriotic woman who proudly wants to carry their message of faith and freedom. When you shop with us, you're not just getting a t-shirt. You're joining a community of like-minded women who are proud to wear their beliefs straight on their tees. So whether you're sipping sweet tea on the porch or leading the charge for faith and freedom, do it in a Carry Girl tee. Because life's too short for stiff, boring tees. CarryGirl.com, where faith and freedom meets fashion.
Independence. With that declaration, America was born. Inspired by a belief in the God-given rights of every human being, and in the good that comes from exercising these rights well. The founders of our great nation chose independence. As do we. Hillsdale College accepts no government funding because independence makes possible the good to which we aspire.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
First half hour down. I'm BZ in the saloon. Thanks for being here. Thanks for Amy Curtis being here. And Rick Robinson will be here later in the second hour. There's a ton of people. I'm looking up the little numbers up wrong way. No, wait, Jesus. Point the right way. You guys can't see it, but I can. There's 160 people watching live right now. So thanks to everybody. And you know what? Amy Curtis, you brought them. So thanks.
I'm very well. You're very welcome. And thank you for having me. And I'm really glad that everybody's listening in. Hi, everybody. I wish I could get in the chat, but I can't. And that's okay. I don't think I could multitask tonight anyway, but
Shit, I have a tough enough time just sitting in the damn chair with that falling out. In any event, I said we were going to get into some politics right now. Let me put this up. You write at townhall.com.
I do.
And so I thought, when I was not podcasting, when I had my blog, I started in 2004, and there was a time when I'd put out, when I could actually concentrate, 30 years ago, I would put 2, 3, 4, 5 blog posts out a day. And so I thought, well, let's go to townhall.com and let's see what this Amy Curtis writes. What, like one post a day? No, I'm here to show this to you. Now you can see there's Amy Curtis up there. There's her biography. Okay, let's look. Let's count. Okay, one story. Wisconsin cannot afford to follow Minnesota today. HHS Secretary Kennedy today. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche today. Experts weigh in on SCOTUS case today. Florida woman tried messing with ICE. It didn't today. DHS releases new today. Senator Cruz highlights today. Jacob Fry just said today. Voters rejected the vet today. And Trump just gave Minnesota today. St. Paul teachers today. C waiver identifies the Jesus. Do you stop? Amy Curtis.
It is like, I don't want to say a drug, but like a drug. When I think it comes from my freelancing with Twitchy, where that's a good story. That's a good story. I have to write this. I have a very hard time turning off and not being on, because the news never stops. And I've got my phone and news breaks and I want to get on and I want to write it. And I'm working on okay, this is my time off. Enjoy the time off. Step away for a little bit. Enjoy the holidays, that kind of thing. And I'm getting better at it, but I'm not good. But I love it. And it just most of the time flows for me. So I don't want to say I don't look at it as work, because I do. And I take my job seriously, but I finally get paid to do what I love. And if you can do that, even the bad days, and you still have bad days, are so much better.
Everything else falls into place. Is it like, I have two immediate questions. One is about Wisconsin. The other one I may as well ask right now. Are you not the actual journalists that are involved in America today? Because what I term the American media maggots, they're not the real journalists. The guy, Nick Sortor, or I can't think of the other guys that are going out and doing stuff right now. Started with Andy No until everybody wanted to kill the shit out of him, and he can't go anywhere anymore. But are people like them and are you not the real journalists today? The American media maggots are cowards.
Yes, I think that they are cowards, and I think that we absolutely are. But I think, and this is a term that I use frequently, they are also stenographers and propagandists for the DNC. And you see it all the time. Watch an interview. Yes, I got the bell again.
Yep.
Watch an interview with any Democrat, and they'll say the most outrageous things, and the journalist will just nod. Sometimes they will get pushback, but I can count on one hand the number of times that happens. Usually it's okay, cool. Like, we will take whatever you say at face value and run with it and repeat it. But then there was that interview between Margaret Brennan and Tom Cotton, and if you go to my timeline, you can find the pictures where she's looking. Every guy that's been divorced knows that look. And the way she looked at him with such contempt during that interview, the screenshots themselves were incredible. And that's part of, like, going back to my book real quick, what I write about, just the way the media runs interference for the DNC all the time. So I would say, yes, there's Nick Sodor, there's Nick Shirley, Dustin Grage, Andy No. And there's a long list of people who go out there and do what journalists used to do, that shoe leather journalism, where they try to dig and get to the truth, and they don't have the fancy degrees. They don't have the fancy bylines. They just do the job, and they get the job done. And I have tremendous respect, especially for the guys on the ground in Minneapolis right now who are risking safety to bring the story and show what's going on there. And I know Andy No has been the target. He's been assaulted. He had a brain bleed.
He was almost killed.
They really hurt him. And like I said, they almost killed him in pursuit. And like, he still does the job. And I have tremendous respect for that, because you're on to something. When they get that angry and that violent, you are right over the target. And that's when you keep dropping those bombs, because you're hitting something and that they don't like it. And it's like sunlight to a vampire to them.
It's like my dad flew B-17s in World War II. And he would say, well, number one, he wouldn't talk about it very much, but one of the things he did say was, when we get flak, we know we're over the target.
Yep.
And it's true there. The American media maggots do not have a curious or an inquisitive mind, number one. And number two, they are completely unfamiliar with two words. Or, well, no, if you want to make it one word, two words, follow-up questions. Is follow-up one word? It could be.
It's hyphenated.
Okay. Right.
But we'll count it as one word. Why get technical on a Thursday night? Right.
They don't know about follow-up questions and then follow-ups to their follow-ups. They're completely unfamiliar with that and couldn't care less.
Well, I think that you nailed it on that second part. I think they know about it because they do it with Republicans, and they have no qualms about hammering Republicans with these hard questions and sometimes ridiculous questions. They don't do it with Democrats because they want to help the Democrats, and that much is painfully obvious. I mean, you look at where newsrooms donate, the vast majority of that goes to Democratic coffers and Act Blue and things like that. And I think back to my journalism class in college, my undergrad days. My journalism professor said she doesn't vote. She said, I don't think as a journalist I should vote because it clouds the work that I do. And I remember that, and I had a lot of respect for her because I'm sure politically we didn't see eye to eye, especially after my conversion back to conservatism. But I admired her integrity, and I would love to pick her brain right now.
It's funny you should mention that. And I had her on the show twice now. There was an individual who I went to college with. Her name was Susan Katz. Now Susan Katz Keating. And we had a relationship, and then she went on to do exactly what she wanted to do. She became an actual honest-to-God journalist. One of the first things she said, this is so weird. Amy Curtis, by the way, Susan Katz Keating owns Soldier of Fortune magazine right now. She was always associated with the military in some fashion because her father was in the military. But one of the first things I can distinctly recall when she came on the show was, I was told and came from a time in journalism when just like you said, point the damn right way. I had a journalism instructor who said, I don't vote because I don't want to be seen as taking any particular side in journalism. That is so far buried today. It's like all the journos come out from a little pump factory in an assembly line. They're all the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And you see it, you go, whenever there's big breaking news, go to X, look at all their feeds. They're all saying the exact same thing. Like there's some secret listserv where the memo goes out and they all just copy paste it into their social media feeds. It's this hive mind mentality. And I like the transparency of, yes, I know you are a shill for the Democratic Party and everybody knows I lean conservative. I like that sunlight is the best disinfectant. Let people know where you're coming from. That to that end, though, I do strive when possible to be as fair and balanced as I can in pieces where I need to be. I think that's important. It's hard. I won't lie, it's hard.
Yes.
Of all the things I wrote, actually, the hardest piece I ever wrote in my time at Twitchy, somehow, and I don't even know how it happened, I ended up kind of being the Grim Reaper over there. I think it started when Matthew Perry died, and I was a huge a fan of Friends. I actually, sitting to my left, and I can't grab it because I'll knock stuff over. I have an autographed picture of Matthew Perry from when I was in 6th grade because I loved him. And when he died, I wrote his obit for Twitchy. And that kind of started you're going to write the obits now. So I did Jimmy Carter, Bob Euchre, the Pope. And the hardest one I ever...
Grim Reaper.
Yep, right there. It was in the headline. So there was something surreal about writing obits for all these people that I grew up watching and knowing. But when Cecile Richards from Planned Parenthood died, trying to write an obit and not go the way People magazine and New York Times went with Scott Adams' obit was really, really hard.
Are you referring to that? I won't even give her name. The female did she slay Scott Adams at the Times? Someone did.
It was at People, she said,
People.
disgraced. It was disgraced.
It was
cartoonist Scott. Yeah, disgrace was in the headline. Yeah.
Disgusting.
Yes, it was.
Couldn't be more reprehensible.
Yeah. I mean, he had just passed away and people were mourning him. But that's, as we saw in September with Charlie Kirk, that's what they do. You are conservative and you die, they are going to celebrate it. They are going to cheer. And like I said, did I shed a tear when Cecile Richards died? No. Did I get sad when Jimmy Carter died? No. But I also didn't dance on their graves because I have a shred of decency in me, because that's not what you do when somebody dies. You say, okay, they're dead. If you can say, I'm sorry for your loss, fine. But otherwise you keep your mouth shut and move on.
Yeah, pretty much. The question I wanted to ask you, which is why I want to discuss this article first, if I can, as you were talking about a half hour ago, and you had mentioned that you're in Wisconsin. One of the first things, and this is an honest question because I don't know the answer, but here's a reference to an article right here.
Mm-hmm.
This one was published today. Wisconsin cannot afford to follow Minnesota. I am unfamiliar with Wisconsin politics. Educate me, if you will, about Wisconsin politics. I don't know where they lean.
Yeah, well, to be quite honest, the people of Wisconsin don't know where they lean most of the time either. We voted for Trump in 2024. He won the state by less than a percentage point. Milwaukee County, where I am, and Dane County, which is where Madison, the capital is, which is kind of dead center bottom of the southern portion of the state, are two of the deepest blue counties in the country. But then we've got what we call the WOW counties: Waukesha, Ozaukee, and Washington counties. Waukesha is to my west, Ozaakee's to my north, or sorry, Washington's my north, and Ozaukee is further to my west. Are some of the reddest counties in the country. So we are very bipolar. Our governor is a Democrat. Our attorney general is a Democrat. Tony Evers announced over the summer that he's not seeking re-election, which is fine. I don't have any confirmation on this. Is just coming as a nurse, and my son met Tony Evers not too terribly long ago. I don't think he's in very good health. So I think that's part of why he decided to step down. And I think there's 7 or 8 Democrats who threw their hat in the ring to replace him. And Sarah Rodriguez is his current lieutenant governor. That's who's in that picture. And she unveiled this week one of her first major campaign platforms, which is this radical anti-ICE agenda, where ICE wouldn't be allowed to pick anybody up pretty much anywhere in the state. So we would go the same route as Minneapolis, where ICE would have to come and do these things. And you would think that they would learn, because we were just in the national spotlight not too long ago. Milwaukee County Circuit Court Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested by the FBI in April for helping an illegal immigrant flee her courtroom and try to evade ICE.
That was Wisconsin.
That was Wisconsin. That was my county.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. And as most people know, she went to trial. The trial lasted 4 days. The jury came back within 7 hours with a verdict. They found her guilty of the felony charge and not guilty of the misdemeanor of concealment. So she resigned from her judgeship. She faces, I believe it's up to 5 years in prison. They are appealing. They are asking the judge, Lynn Edelman, he's 2 years younger than God and been on the bench forever, to throw the jury verdict out. I don't think he will, because even the state Supreme Court, which is also left-leaning right now, suspended Hannah Dugan. And I don't think they're going to try to risk blowing up the judiciary to save her for what she did. And they had her dead to rights. So Sarah Rodriguez, and it's it's funny because this policy is so bad that even Tony Evers, who is not a conservative, who is hiding SNAP info and voter roll info from the feds, said, no, this is too radical for Wisconsin. It's just going to inflame things with ICE. We can't do this. So I'm sure things in Madison right now are a little tense, because she's his lieutenant governor. He picked her to run with him after Mandela Barnes, his first lieutenant governor, left to run for the Senate in 2022 and lost to Ron Johnson. Mandela Barnes is also in the race. And even Barnes has backpedaled his radical positions on ICE, because I think at least his team is reading the tea leaves. And knowing Trump won Wisconsin in 2024 for a reason, but Rodriguez's team is full steam ahead on this anti-ICE agenda, and for a variety of reasons we can't. And right now, the governor and the AG are, and the Supreme Court are all liberal, but the Assembly and the state Senate are Republican controlled. That is also up for grabs this year. So there's a lot at stake in 2026 in Wisconsin.
Okay, Amy Curtis. So prognostications, where goeth thou?
In terms of where I think this election's going to go,
In Wisconsin.
Well, the front runner.
The question is, or the statement is, you cannot afford to follow Minnesota. So the question is, will you?
I think Tom Tiffany, who's the Republican, I think he's done a very good job so far of getting the message out the way he needs to, not hammering, because it's a fine line, walking that fine line, supporting Trump. He hasn't done that, but he has hammered these issues that are going to mean things. And we also have significant issues with education. Something like 33% of Wisconsin students can't read on grade level. And Tony Evers was the superintendent of public instruction for many years before he became governor. A couple of years ago, the state legislature passed tougher, consistent education standards. Evers vetoed them. We have this thing in Wisconsin called the line item veto, which I don't like. And I'll tell you why, because it allows, like it says, the governor to go in and edit lines of legislation. And Evers went in and changed the budget, the biennial budget, the last one. So instead of 4 years of tax increases for schools, he made it 400 years. And now all these suburbs where property values are more than Milwaukee are all getting hammered with tax bills because of what Tony Evers did. So I think if Tiffany stays on that message and you focus on education, focus on the taxes, focus on the disaster that is the immigration policy from Biden, I think he's got a very good chance to win. And I think we have a fairly good chance to keep the Senate and Assembly as well, which is good because we're going to need it. And we really need to get Josh Kaul out as AG as well. And I believe he's up for re-election this year too.
Okay, let me do this other article that you this tends to go a little bit more national. And then I want to ask you a couple of questions as you put on your amazing Kreskin hat before we go away at the top of the hour. Experts weigh in on SCOTUS case involving boys and girls sports. Your opinion. Now, we haven't had the tariffs opinion yet. So first question for you, Amy Curtis. How do you think that's going to go?
I think given the economic risks and the fallout that will come from saying that he can't do the tariffs, I think they're going to rule in his favor, but I think it's going to be a very narrow ruling.
Wow. Okay.
That's just what my gut is telling me, because we're going to have to pay back billions in these tariffs. And I think the court is going to look at that and go, maybe not the time to cause some massive economic issues. We'll see. I've got a draft written to drop as soon as they do issue that ruling. We were expecting it last week. We were expecting it yesterday. Still haven't gotten that one yet, which also tells me that they're probably not going to rule against him. I think if they were going to do that, they would have ripped that Band-Aid off and gotten it done.
Okay. Amy Curtis. I didn't see that coming. I've heard like about, tariffs bad. SCOTUS going to go, negatory, Big Ben. So you hold a little positivity about that.
Yeah, I think the tariffs are causing some price increases, but I don't think it's the economic disaster people predicted it was going to be. I will confess that I never understood Trump's obsession with trade deficits and tariffs, because I didn't think the system was broken and needed to be fixed, but Trump disagreed. So I'm just going with the flow on that one, but I think SCOTUS is going to rule in his favor on that.
One fundamental question that I always had was, why was it okay for other countries to levy tariffs against us and us not in reverse? That's neither here nor there at this point, because they only got one more day to shovel this crap out, and that's tomorrow, unless they're going to hold it over the weekend and just say, okay, maybe next week, maybe Monday, maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, well, then tomorrow is going to be a very interesting day. But yeah, I mean, I'm expecting that ruling anytime soon.
Okay,
and then we'll see what happens.
The other one is this one. SCOTUS and boys and girls sports. I'm hearing more positivity on this. And your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. I think the oral arguments were a disaster for the trans activists, because everything they argue is contingent on something that isn't based in reality. That a man can say he's a woman just because he feels like it, and you can't grant rights to a group that doesn't have immutable characteristics. This came up in another Supreme Court argument, and the case escapes me now, where Alito basically said, how can you grant rights to something that isn't an immutable characteristic? So it's two cases. Let me make sure I get my notes right here. It's Little versus Heacock out of Idaho, and West Virginia versus BPJ. And the people I talked to said they seemed like Gorsuch was kind of waffling on the Idaho case, but seemed to come around to it, because ultimately the question is, Title IX is a contract with the states. And when you accept federal money, you agree to that contract, that Title IX. And Title IX means gender. It doesn't mean gender identity. It doesn't mean transgender identity. It means gender. And that's man and woman. And that's sort of case closed, period. And I think the Supreme Court is going to rule in favor of girls and sports and protecting them. And that's been a big issue for me too, because one, obviously I'm a woman. And it's the fundamental injustice, I think is the best word, of 2023, I think it was October 2023, the UN said men have taken almost 1,000 medals, titles, championships from women.
Yes.
To that date. And that's coming from the UN.
That was the UN.
So clearly there's an issue here. And I'm looking wrong. When I talk about someone really got offended when I would talk about the patriarchy. The patriarchy, as feminists describe it, doesn't exist. That is their made up boogeyman. And I love men. Men are great. We need good men. Toxic masculinity isn't a thing either. But then these same people who screamed about the patriarchy for 30 years turn around and say, that man says he's a woman, therefore he's a better woman than you and needs to have access to your spaces, access to your same, your opportunities because he says he's a woman. And no, that if anything is patriarchy. I'm a big fan of holding the left to their own standards and their own rules. And if you guys argued about patriarchy this entire time and then say men can take my spaces because they say they're a woman, no, absolutely not. And it's not just that, it's the erasure of women. Richard Levine, the former assistant secretary of HHS.
Yes, thank you for calling him Richard.
Yeah, he's a man. I'm not going to call him by whatever his female name is because he's a man. Went to some fertility clinic and called us egg producers. I'm not a chicken. I'm a woman. Womb havers, front holes, birth givers, birthing parent. Tony Evers here tried to change state legislation rules concerning parenthood to change pregnant women to inseminated persons.
It's just stupid.
Well, it's stupid and it's dehumanizing and it's disgusting because I'm a woman, and when I had my kids, I was a pregnant woman. I was not an inseminated person. I was not a birth giver. I was not the birthing parent. I was a woman and a mother. And you never see a trans man try to get into the NBA. You never see a trans man competing against boys in high school. It's always the women who suffer. And I wrote a piece a little bit ago about Planet Fitness when they were back in the news yet again for letting there was a trans man, pardon the bluntness, jerking off in the ladies' bathroom. He was on video. When he was confronted, he said, I'm a woman. I can do this. And first of all, that argument is fundamentally flawed because a woman shouldn't be allowed to masturbate in the bathroom at Planet Fitness. But this notion that I'm a man, but say I'm a woman, I can do this and be absolved from any responsibility, any judgment, anything is ridiculous. And then Planet Fitness, somebody dropped their corporate policy, and a woman feeling uncomfortable about a man in the bathroom is not grounds to ask that trans person to leave the bathroom. And time and again, we see that where one man makes everything uncomfortable for women and the women are told to just shut up and take it. And, J.K. Rowling, who has been this massive voice for this movement, they threatened to kill her. She had to up security. I see the protests where they want TERFs, trans exclusionary radical feminists to die. They want to kill us. They fantasize about shooting us and beating us up because we dare to tell them no. And it's, I don't use this word lightly. It's actual misogyny. And it's this mental illness perpetrated by mentally ill men who get their jollies on abusing women.
Supported by mentally ill women. How can that be? Okay, we should have been out of here, but no. I have one more question.
Of course,
you.
I will stick around.
And it's the God. It's like the question from hell.
Okay.
It's like, how can I ask this? Number one, how can there be any kind of an answer? Because things are so incredibly fluctuous right now. But what the fuck? I'll ask it anyway.
Yep.
What do you think's going to happen for midterms for 2026? Okay, I cringe after asking.
It's funny you say it fluctuates, because 6 weeks ago I would have said it's going to be a bloodbath for Republicans because, affordability, and I hate that word because it sounds like such a leftist word, but the economy is really going to be an issue for people because a lot of people feel like they still can't afford what they could in the pre-Biden days. But gas prices are coming down, egg prices are coming down. I'm noticing grocery prices are starting to come down. Home prices are starting to come down. I think that is shifting. And I think the reason the economy is working in Trump's favor is because you don't hear the Democrats talking about it much at all. If the economy was going to be the big issue in this election, they would be out there hammering it constantly and doing the same thing that the guy in New York, Zoran Mamdani, the affordability, making things affordable. It's a lie. He's a socialist and nothing is going to be affordable, but they would be hammering that message and they're not. They're doubling down on ICE is the Gestapo. We have to stop ICE. We have to abolish ICE. All those radical positions that lost them the election in 2024, in my opinion, they're doubling down on them for the midterm. So I think the House, maybe we might lose that, but it'll be a very narrow majority, like a very slim loss if we do. And then the Senate, I think we keep the Senate. That's my prediction for right now. Talk to me in a couple weeks and might be different. I don't know. But right now, I don't feel this sense of dread and gloom. I feel the way I felt in the run up to 2024, where the entire time I was looking at everything, I'm like, Trump is going to win. And despite the polls, despite the glowing articles for both Biden and then Kamala, it's like Trump is going to win. And it was cemented July 13th of 2024 when that guy tried to shoot him. We were actually, because the RNC was here in Milwaukee that in 2024, and I was really afraid that things were going to get ugly and violent. So I actually packed my kids up. We flew to Hawaii.
Really?
We did. Yeah.
Wow.
Their dad, my ex-husband, he also passed away at the beginning of 2024. So that was kind of we got through this really bad time. We're going to go and just, really make some memories, do this really big trip. Because normally we just do road trips. We've gone to South Dakota. We've gone to North Carolina. We drive places and do like small things, Tennessee. But this was, let's do something like a once in a lifetime thing to really kind of heal and spend time together. And Hawaii was amazing. I would go back in a heartbeat. But yeah, I literally flew my kids as far away as I could from Milwaukee, and still be in the United States to avoid the RNC. But we were landing in Honolulu when that happened, and we were losing Wi-Fi and we weren't sure what was going on. And once we touched down and he had been shot, I looked at my son, my eldest, who was obsessed with politics, and said, he's going to win the election. He just won the election today. And that never wavered. That feeling I had never wavered during the election. And then he ended up winning.
Okay, this is everybody who watches the show knows this is so BZ of me. But one more question.
Of course.
That is, okay, January 20th, government shutdown. It'll be predicated upon ICE, defunding ICE, etc. Will that be the stiletto in the groinulus for the Democrats? Maybe yes, maybe no.
I think it will be, because Ilhan Omar went on, it was either MSNBC Now, or MSNBC, whatever MSNBC is now, or CNN, and where she said, ICE hasn't shown that they are arresting any dangerous criminals. And I think it was RNC Research just put that video on top of something from DHS with dozens of these criminals. I mean, I wrote down 3 of them. Alex Gomez Lucas from Guatemala, negligent homicide. Gilberto Salguero Munoz, El Salvador, triple homicide. Guy Van, he's from Laos, strong arm rape, sexual assault, strangulation, and they all had deportation orders. Guy Van, his deportation order goes back to 2012. He should have left this country before my youngest son was born. My youngest son was born in 2013. So we are rounding up the bad guys. And the thing that I find super ironic, and it warms the cockles of my heart, if Minnesota cooperated with ICE and honored ICE detainers and let ICE go into these prisons and these jails and get these bad guys and take them, ICE wouldn't be in the streets of Minneapolis right now, where they're sweeping up any illegal immigrants they come across, even the ones that haven't committed crimes. Of course, we all know you're here illegally. You broke federal immigration law. The penalty for that is deportation. So I'm on the camp of deport them all and reform the immigration system, because we can't keep doing what we're doing. It's unsustainable.
Absolutely not. Okay, folks, that is Amy Curtis, and I am ever so happy to have had her on here today. I invited you back, and you accepted.
I love this. I miss doing podcasting and streaming. I loved it so much. I'm not
going to hold you to this at all. So, Amy Curtis, tell us where you can be found, where you can be read, and or any social media that you would like to menzione. That's Italian for mention.
The big one is X, Ranty Amy Curtis. The handle is right there. So follow me on X, townhall.com, Amy Curtis. I've got tons of stuff written there. Yep. And those are the 2 big things. And then obviously go to Amazon, search Gaslight, Amy Curtis, and my book will pop up. And I would be so grateful if you bought a copy. It really would mean a lot to me. I'm very proud of that book. Like I said, I've got others in mind. I might even do a volume 2 of this, because it was so much fun to write. But the other one I want to work on is I want to work on a book of DEI in medicine, because I think that's really important. I think that's going to be the next big social cultural fight, and one that really will cost lives if we don't address it and stamp it out.
Oh, Amy Curtis, you need to go in there and kick that door down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you ever so kindly for being here and for taking the time. Get some sleep at least, anyway.
I will. Everybody have a wonderful night. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Amy Curtis. God bless. And
bye.
Thank you for your time. Wowzer. That's all I can say. Wowzer. Now, there's an individual waiting in the wings. He'll be back after the break. And I am BZ. You are not. You are in the saloon. I am in the saloon. And I think we will take this break because I need to do something. And then I think that will be it for the breaks for the rest of the hour. And we will have Rick Robinson. Don't go anywhere.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Mission log. Entry. I mean, let's face it, who's even counting anymore? The Lost Wanderer is officially off course, chasing rogue rocket launches, fringe science, and things that probably violate causality. If it burns fuel, bends time, or makes scientists very uncomfortable, yeah, I'm probably going to talk about it. Every other Sunday on KLRN Radio, The Lost Wanderer, because space doesn't come with a roadmap, and honestly, I wouldn't follow if it did.
Hello, I'm Matt, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on the continuing relevance of the Constitution.
Many argue today that the Constitution is outdated because it addresses problems peculiar to the 18th century. Some parts of the Constitution do read rather quaintly. Consider the injunction against titles of nobility in Article 1, Section 9 of the Constitution. But is that so outdated? The purpose of the injunction is to prevent the government granting special privileges to some for partisan reasons. This strikes at the heart of the rule of law. The crony capitalism so common today is a place where the government bestows favors and tax dollars on some businesses to give them a leg up over others. This is exactly the kind of thing the Constitution was meant to prohibit. The Constitution is not so outdated after all.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
Hey fellas, are you mission ready? You need to check out Mission Ready Men via Earl Big E Jackson on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. It's a show that equips you to navigate our society's challenges from a biblical perspective with courage and conviction. Tune into Mission Ready Men as we examine our culture through the prism of biblical truths, teachings, and how to apply them in our daily lives. Prepare to step up, stand out, and step into your role as a man as ordained by God. That's Mission Ready Men, hosted by Earl Jackson on the SHR Media Network. And get mission ready.
Want to make an immediate difference in the life of a critically ill child? You have the ability to do that right now. Make a donation to Dream Makers for Life, the organization that restores dreams to seriously ill children and their families. You can sponsor a dream pack for a child, which contains a clear PVC backpack, a dry erase board adventure coloring book, a journal, and dry erase markers to inspire a critically ill child to envision a future adventure and hope. Want to become a dream maker for life yourself? Go to dreamforlife.org. That's dreamforlife.org. Help a child. Help a family. There is always hope.
You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
It is 9:13 in the PM-ibus Pacific, and it is 11:13 Central and midnight 13 on the far right coast, which is so weird because it's not right, but the left coast is left. That's weird. That's just weird how that happens. So make sure you subscribe. I want to put this down here in terms of the banners. We have 736 subscribers to the SHR Media Network today. It wasn't that long ago, think about it, boys and girls, when we had 500 subscribers. So we went up 236 subscribers in what would be, for us, kind of a semi-shocking period of time. Now, I know that there are people out there with 1,000 subscribers, 10,000, 20,000, 500,000 subscribers. Well, they've massaged all the stuff that they possibly can, and probably a lot of what they do doesn't have a thing to do with politics, and certainly not conservative politics. So we work hard at SHR and KLRN every day to make sure that our analytics actually get through, that people can watch unscrewed with, unfucked with, which is an amazing thing in and of itself, and yet we still are here. SHR is still here. KLRN is still here. Conservative politics, conservative folks on both sides right here are still present and accounted for. So this is when I want to say hello. Hello.
I only have my first question. Why did you trade? Why did you trade in the eye candy for me? You should have kept her on.
Well, I would like to. She'll come back.
I know.
I agree. She'll come back, and she also said, because I kind of thought that if I get her on for 2 hours, that'll be great. I can ask a lot more questions. And then what she said, Sub Rosa, was, I don't want to go over 2 hours because I have to get up early. And that's when I thought, okay, all right, she's 2 hours ahead of us. I get that concept. Don't screw with people when they need to go beddy by. I get it. So I didn't want to keep her any longer than about an hour, but she'll come back. But I agree with you. I mean, when I first came across her last Friday on the weekend report with yourself and Slager of Brad. I have a Slager of Brad right here. Look, one Slager, which I have been draining, I should say. It was a great show. I'd never seen her before. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know she wrote for Town Hall. I didn't know that she'd written for Twitchy. I didn't know that she was called the Grim Reaper.
Oh yeah, well we go way back. I actually back when she was doing her podcast, we used to simulcast it back when I was running K98 Talk. So we've run in the same circles for a while. But yeah, when I first started writing for Twitchy, before I wound up having a roommate start staying with me who wound up needing a lot more medical care than I expected. I was kind of the one that would always take the "this person has passed away" story because nobody else wanted to write them. And then when she started working for them, and I had to step away a bit, she started taking all of them, so she kind of became their Grim Reaper. And then I had planned on taking it when she left, and I started trying to come back and write more. But unfortunately, things in my life have kind of gone sideways over the last few months, so I haven't been able to step up there as much as I wanted to. Plus, I've had some of my own side projects that I had to get out of my brain first. So,
well, the other thing is that in terms of similarities, she wrote a book. I put the book up there, Gaslighted. And I think perhaps this may be a good time to tell folks about the book and or books that you have lined up.
Well, so I have a children's book that I am putting the final pieces together on and hope to have out beginning of February. I also have a fiction book that is based on a character who used to do private investigations, who is now a true crime podcaster who goes around in his spare time solving cold cases. That I'm putting an outline together for now.
Wow. Kind of like Dave Tosky.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dave Tosky was the inspiration for Dirty Harry, and he was also the inspiration for the movie Zodiac.
But I also I am in talks with a group to put out a couple of different political realm books because of all the different research and work that I've done. So, I mean, I've got a lot of different stuff going on. It's just all of my stuff is kind of to about the 75% completion phase. And this is normally when my ADHD brain goes, oh, look, let's do something else. And then I forget about those things. So I'm trying to make sure I actually finish them this time. But okay. I've been having a lot of fun writing new music lately too, though. So there's that.
Okay. Here's where I get to make fun of Rick. Well, first, shit, I may as well put this up.
That is a very wide array of possibilities. So
I uploaded this, so I'm not gonna not put this up. So I pounded the crap out of Grok one day, and I said, "Show me a riot with a lot of chicks at the front." And so this is what I got the first time. Tax the Rick. Why does Grok want to tax you? I don't get that.
I have my own gravitational pull and put off a lot of methane, so I probably make the climatards angry.
And this is where I also get to make fun of you, and also say, because I say this at the end of any time that I have a verbal interchange with you is, okay, so Rick Robinson, tell us where you can be found, and tell us what you're doing, and tell us about the shows, and tell us about KLRN. So I may as well do it now. So, the perennial underachiever, go.
Well, might as well get this out of the way now. So anyway, so I run, I own and am the general manager for KLRMradio.com. It is a digital podcast group. We produce multiple types of content. I do a daily show Tuesday through Friday, starting at 10 a.m. I am the host of America Off the Rails, which is usually Monday nights at 10 p.m. I do a panel podcast with the folks of Manorama that started as something outside of our umbrella that's been folded in. That's 10 p.m. on Tuesday nights. Wednesday nights, I usually do a Kingdom and Country Bible study every other week, 7 p.m., and then produce a bunch of other shows for that night, including running one of yours as a refire. Thursday night, typically, I do Jen and Rick every Thursday. That's been on hiatus because Jen has got a new gig and she's figuring out how to make all that work, but we'll be bringing that soon. Every other week, I produce the folks at Disasters in the Making. That was supposed to be tonight, but Brad had Gremlins. Fridays, we've now started the Weekend News Roundup. That's at 3 p.m. Eastern. Every other Saturday, I do Juxtaposition, and Sunday nights is Kingdom and Country. And that's just the stuff I do at KLRN Radio. Yeah.
Oh, you're done. Okay.
Well, for now. That's the radio stuff. I figured for tonight I'd give it out in pieces.
Where do you find the time?
I don't have enough time anymore. It's weird. It's funny because there's this story that came out in the news a while ago that apparently for folks like me who can sleep anywhere between 3, 4 to 5 hours a night and feel perfectly fine, we have what's called the superhero gene according to science now. And I'm like, wait, so I have a superhero gene and that's what you call superhero? The fact that I don't need 8 hours of sleep, that makes me a superhero. I could think of so many cooler things that I would have preferred to have be a superhero gene. But yeah.
Sleep.
Yeah,
Like
well,
OMB, everybody says that you can't at 80. He'll be 80 this year. At 80, you can't outwork OMB.
dude, even the folks on his press gaggles get pissed because even when he's going like on Air Force One to other places, they're like, this is supposed to be like an 18-hour flight, and we're like, hey, we'll have some time to take a nap. And then dude goes into his office, shuts the door for 2 hours, takes a nap, and then comes and starts talking the press's ear off. And they're like, we have to be with you for the next 3 days. We were hoping to get some sleep. He's like, you were complaining because the last guy never wanted to talk to you. Now you're bitching because I want to talk to you all the time. Make up your mind.
Not gonna happen. Hey, you sent me something in private chat. I want to put that up here right now. And I appreciate it when people send me stuff like this. So let's go to this right here. And maybe you can explain. First, I'm going to play it, and then I'm going to have you explain to me, Lucy, why you think this is interesting, because I think this is really interesting. I played it during the break.
Mine is the first visit of a Canadian Prime Minister to China in nearly a decade.
Okay, as Rick said when he sent me the private message, look at dude's face right there as Carney talks.
What the fuck?
The world has changed much since that last visit. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
New world order. If there was a word balloon over that guy's head, my guess would be it'd be saying something like, well, besides, it'd be saying, bullshit. That's some bullshit right there. That's what that is. So what did this say to you that you felt it so incumbent to make sure that we play this? Because I got to admit, I do loves it.
So, first things first, because this occurred to me as we were watching it now. Do they have some sort of Canadian oratory school that teaches them all to speak like William Shatner?
It makes you wonder. I didn't want to say it here, but I was thinking it. So does that count for thinking it?
In a lot of ways, I actually like William Shatner because he's one of the least woke Star Trek people out there. But at the same time, that whole pause every second that's a no. I'm like, did they go to school to learn how to talk that way? Is that what it is? But no, I mean, to me, so the whole thing with Greenland, I've kind of been, I understand it, but I really don't understand it. But now I kind of get it because we've got our neighbors to the south that are in bed with the cartels and want us dead. Now you've got our neighbors to the north going over to China going, hey, we want to talk to you about this new world order. So I'm kind of understanding Greenland now because it's just another way for us to, I mean, at this point, that could give us a pincer move with Canada if we need one. That could actually give us a tripod against Canada if we need one. So I kind of get it now.
I played, if you go to Rumble for my show and hit the Saloon from last night, I played a 2-minute video, which kind of really hones in on why Greenland is important. And there are any number of important aspects to it, not the least of which that I don't know, I guess I sort of intuited a little bit, but not really quite so much, was that's the land over which the ICBMs will be flying, and whoever happens to be in control of that will have easier or more ready access to said ICBMs from one major landmass over the Arctic cap and then down into, I don't know, maybe the United States or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's another part because a lot of folks don't understand everybody makes fun of Reagan for the Star Wars idea, and the concept as a whole didn't make it past the whiteboard phase. But we do now have the ability to shoot down objects in space from land base and sea base, and we know this because we practiced doing it in the 90s on
His
purpose.
brain was just ahead of the tech that was available at the time.
Exactly.
Star Wars is stupid. Yeah, because we didn't have the tech, which we predominantly do now.
But we do now.
Yes.
That's why it's funny, because you have all these people that have been saber rattling until we instituted our DoorDash for dumb fucks program a couple weeks ago. And now they're all like, maybe we don't want to mess with America as much as we thought now. So, I mean, China is not really there yet, but we're getting them there. What will keep them there, I think, is dependent upon the ruling from SCOTUS with tariffs. Unlike Amy Curtis, I am not as optimistic. I think this is going to wind up being a Solomon splitting the baby kind of thing, because I think there's going to be
surprised she went there. Heartened, of course.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I hope she's the one that's right and I'm wrong. But I have a sneaking suspicion this is going to be, well, we know he can do this with them, so we can't say anything about that. I think they're going to come down on the other side with what the left is calling the weaponization of tariffs. And I don't necessarily think that I agree with that, but you have to understand, I think there's another reason the left has been spinning up all these protests again. So I think the SCOTUS folks might be a little bit afeared right now, if you get my meaning, Mr. Frodo.
You can't tell me that there isn't deflection and there isn't distraction. That's the Mark I Model 1 political move. Let me ask you this. I'm going to put up a story about the Republicans here in just a second.
Do we have to?
Well, yeah, but essentially, yes, we do. In terms of Greenland, my belief is Russia will get it, or China will get it, or we can get it, and we will be infinitely more benevolent than anyone else. And as I put this up on Tuesday night, I'll display it again here. Russia has been going into the Arctic for decades now. They have the greatest number of icebreakers of any nation, most of which are nuclear powered. If you look at this with Russia, blue is the United States, that's Alaska. It's up on tippy top because this map is like a Mercator map, and like what happens when you unfold the skin and lay it flat, which is why Alaska is on top of Russia. But just examine the installations that are in the north of Russia, who are situated in perfection in terms of making sure that they have ready access to the Arctic, which has an abundance of resources. And as the ice, I will concede, apparently begins to recede up in the Arctic, then there are areas through which ships and submarines of war can transport all the various little skittles that you can cram aboard something like that. So this is a geopolitical prize which will be won by someone. I would much rather have it be us, because it's like the mechanic says, you can pay me now, it'll be less. You can pay me later, it'll be more, but you are going to pay me. And all those installations are very clear. Let me put this up also and see what you have to say about this. There are some House Republicans now saying, okay, listen, if Trump goes there in a fashion in which I do not agree, these guys are talking the I word already, along with Mr. Funny India Man and the dude with the cane. Impeach, impeach, impeach. What the hell?
Well, first things first, he's not actually going to have to invade Greenland. And let me explain why. When he started making jokes about Greenland's military, that tells me that Donald Trump is already making back channel deals with somebody, because he's already comfortable enough to start making jokes about the situation instead of being the balls to the wall. I'm going to cut you if you don't give me what I want, guy. So there's something in the works. I don't know what it is yet. I don't know if we're going to wind up outright owning it or just wind up walking away with the mineral rights and the rights to a few more bases so we can keep them protected. But there'll be something there's already something in the works, because for him to be comfortable enough to make the comment of, What the hell's Denmark going to do? They got two dog sleds and one dog up there. I was like, oh yeah, this guy's already got something in the works.
And already had meetings today or yesterday.
But he wouldn't be making those kind of jokes if he didn't already have something pretty well solidified in his mind. Because Trump doesn't start joking like that unless he's pretty sure he's already going to come out on top. Because I mean,
leftists are already crowing about this. European troops arrive in Greenland as talk with U.S. highlight disagreement over island future.
Well, yeah, everybody's joking about the fact that they sent a total of, I believe it was 35 troops over, but that does nearly double the population of Greenland. So for them, that's a lot of troops.
Almost. And well, down here it says Germany will deploy a reconnaissance team of wait a minute. If only I had a producer. It will display a reconnaissance team of 13 personnel to Greenland on Thursday and possibly another dog sled. But, it's funny. It's like the American media maggots. Yeah, that's them. The European maggots are likewise biased. It's like they want you to think that we're parachuting hundreds and hundreds of people in with, look, we have large planes, the Royal Danish Air Force. This is 50% probably of the Royal Danish Air Force. That's okay. All right, no problem.
The other 50% are paper airplanes. So,
yeah, and yes, I make fun of this. I do. But, as I was told and learned growing up, Greenland is full of ice and Iceland is predominantly very green. And you mentioned the population. There are 56,000 people in Greenland. 95% of which are Inuit and about 7% of which are Danes. And if anybody remembers in the 90s, 91 to 95, right around in there, the Danes thought that they would establish a sterilization program of the natives on Greenland. How weird that people seem to forget that. Weird.
Yeah. So the only reason that I say that I'm not sure we're going to come out completely owning Greenland is because nobody talks about the fact that Greenland has access to basically Denmark-style healthcare, which is socialized. We aren't going to want to pay for that shit. So I'm pretty sure we're going to wind up coming away with some mineral rights, some oil rights, and the rights to a few more bases just to shore up defenses by the time this is all said and done. And I think both Denmark, the Inuit population, and America will be very happy with whatever comes out of this. And I could be wrong. I mean, hell, Amish has already predicted that we'll be owning Greenland within 2 weeks, and dude is right a hell of a lot more often than he's been wrong. So I could be on the wrong side of this one because like I said, I don't know what it is yet, but something has changed in Trump's mind because he's making jokes about it now.
Well, we all know that he is the deal maker of deal makers, and the standard leftist Model 1, Mark 1, American media maggot bullshit headline is seizing Greenland might be the least popular idea in American political history.
People weren't really happy about the idea of buying Alaska at the time either, and there was a
or
very
the
big
Louisiana Purchase.
that was to keep the French from controlling the Mississippi, and
Yes.
nobody was happy about that at the time either. But it had very strict national security implications. That's why they were doing it. So does Greenland. So, and the thing about it is, nobody on the left and half the people on the right, it doesn't matter what Trump does, he's always going to get it wrong. Hell, I heard fucking why can I never think of his name? Guy that's always hanging out with Rand Paul.
Tom
Massey.
Tom Massey.
Tom Massey's screaming and yelling that there's all kinds of underfunding going on in this most recent thing, and I can't find any record of it so far. I'm still looking because he just started making noise about it today, as far as I know. But it's something about the same thing that Trump said he was going to cut as far as the Democrats using for changing of regimes, etc. Apparently, he's saying that it's being back channel funded through some of this reconciliation stuff that's going on right now. And if it is, I haven't been able to find it so far. But if it is, I will find it. Then I will start screaming and yelling. But I have to say this: I don't trust Thomas Massey anymore any further than I could throw him.
No, he has completely. He and Rand Paul, kind of like stopped clocks. I used to have some trust in them, and they've gone out of their way to disabuse me of whatever trust I had that was inherent with them. I mean, if you wanted to go out and alienate me, well, quite frankly, you've done just absolutely an excellent job. And then, holy moly, I had so many things up here to start with. There are. Let me see if I go to the. Oh, this was wonderful. I will start this. Amy Curtis said that she kind of has a semi-crush on Scott Jennings. Play. So what happens to this? It's not playing, but in any event, it'll be up in the show links under the Rumble section. Is Scott Jennings essentially ended up destroying Tim Waltz? Oh, I know one thing that I want to go to. I had a new section that I wanted to play for everybody, and I was going to do it before Amy, but I didn't get the chance to. So,
Meme City Mic Drop, where only the finest hand-grown memes are carefully selected from the most expensive sarcasm seeds, cultivated, nurtured, and harvested lovingly at the peak of their freshness, and bursting with meaning, flavor, rampant hypocrisy, and schadenfreude, always with your mind in mind.
I got to tell you, I love that word, schadenfreude. Let's start with a couple memes. Imprisoned Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro surges into fourth place. You know, and humor isn't funny unless there are elements of truth within. Hi, just wanted to introduce myself here. Not in my estimation, not too soon. This is true, and everybody knows it. If we just let ICE come in to secure facilities and do their jobs, this crap wouldn't have happened.
Exactly.
Minneapolis police didn't do their job. Minnesota state police haven't done their job. And people always say, well, we have to let everyone into the nation, even if they are claiming refugee status. And the answer is no, we don't.
No other country has to do that. Why do we?
We don't either, but no one realizes or recognizes that this is true. So people are mourning for her. What
Yeah,
about the people
the one who
killed?
Yeah, it's funny you never heard any of the left mourning, none of the left, other than save maybe Uncle Festerman, who I'm trying to stop calling him that, but still have it. Who actually spoke out against the illegals killing these women, girls, all this, and children, and all this stuff. But so first things first, I have to say I love your stingers. Every time you put together a new stinger, I'm like, dude. I love that.
Well, I love them too. These are the dudes, by the way, that went to attack the ICE agent with a shovel.
Yep.
And his two friends, the guy in the middle, did the attacking with the shovel. He got shot in the leg. And these are his two friends. Speaking of friendly friends, what stood out for you that made you think that maybe I was Somali? In Minnesota.
Oh,
There's
nice.
This, and you know, we keep giving jobs to Marco Rubio.
Yeah.
And now he's a member. He's a card-carrying member. I wish we had enough time.
Oh God. Now he's a member of the MIB. I just know where you were going with it. Yeah, I was teasing a friend of mine today because he put out on X that he was ready to be the next governor of Greenland. I'm like, careful, Marco Rubio might shank you, bro.
Yeah, that's right. He needs another job. California. Yeah. California is Caliphalia.
Oh yeah. Well, did you see that story? Apparently they were giving out like millions of dollars to an NGO to give free alcohol to homeless people. And only like 55 homeless people took advantage of it, but they spent like millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Where did it go? Where does it always go? We know that. Okay, Question. Rick Robinson.
Yes.
Does this occur? Now, they wrote 6 pages of legal mumbo jump. Some law people, I think it was Abby Lowell. They're represented by Abby Lowell now, which is, it's like, hello, clue. They sent 6 pages of bullshit to Comer, and the only paragraph that was even remotely applicable is they're saying blah 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 blah. I speak leftist, and the one word answer is no.
Yeah.
So
we don't have to answer you. Yeah.
It's like after that, okay. Question. Rick Robinson.
Answer. Let's see if they match.
Do they get do they go to a 4-month club fed like Peter Navarro or Steve Bannon?
I mean, I hate to let my black pill show, but I don't think anything's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's
I
because
want it to, but at the same time, and I have to say this is the one thing that I have been really disappointed with Trump about this time, because he came out swinging at the beginning of his term, and after everything he went through with the Summer of Love and the fact that the left was able to use all the violence and the anger and the angst as chaff to deflect from all the stuff that we're now seeing that is pure unadulterated voter fraud. And well, it's not fraud. People were just tired of all the violence. So in the words of Kamilama Hamasnik, they needed to turn the page. So they wanted something new. They wanted something different. So the anger and the agita could go away. So the thing that I'm really upset about, with as hard as he hit the ground running on some of this stuff, is the fact that now Minneapolis has been burning not burning as bad as it was in 2020, but bad enough that there are legal grounds for them to go in and federally break up these protests, and they haven't done it yet. Now, I will say this is the first time I've heard him threaten to use the Insurrection Act in quite a while. So if they keep the bullshit up and he doesn't, I'm going to be really, really mad, because as somebody who's raised children, once you say something and you don't follow through, you're letting the other side win.
Oh, like Iran's Obama red line.
Well, I mean, nobody knew at the time that when Obama was talking about red lines, he was actually talking about his daughter's Sandar kits, but that's different.
Well, and the dyed lines of Coke. Also, just sort of a quick take. Do you think Iran is in the process? I mean, it obviously it's not as quickly occurring as it was in 1978 with the overthrow of the Shah, but does Iran end up ejecting the great bulk of the Muzzy Islamists, or is this just a temporary uprising and eventually the military win?
I mean, from what I'm hearing from the stuff that I've seen come out from folks like Mark Levin and a few others that apparently have friends on the ground over there was apparently a bloodbath last night. So I don't know. They were talking because there were fears that Trump was going to do something, so Iran closed their airspace. Then nothing happened, and then at some point during the daytime today, which would have been again, I think they're overnight again. Apparently, from what I'm hearing, there were thousands of people murdered. So I'm trying to confirm that before I say too much more about it. But I've heard that from a couple of different people today on Fox and a couple other places. So I mean, I really don't know. I
don't either. It doesn't appear to be quite as clear cut as it was back in the beginning of 77 to 78, and then the crazy shit at Desert One that occurred in 1979 under Carter, asshole.
I mean, I will say this. I think if we can, the thing about it is, and this is one of the things that I was saying, for the couple of weeks that we've been talking about our new DoorDash for Dickheads program. What happened in Venezuela?
Does that require an explanation?
I mean, I don't think so, because I was about to give it anyway, because what happened in Venezuela is basically the beginnings of our DoorDash for Dickheads program. We go find you, we snatch you, and we bring you to us. That's our DoorDash for Dickheads program. But Venezuela, like I said, was a masterful stroke in so many different ways because it got rid of enough of China's oil supply where they're not really going to be able to do their war games as quickly. It put Russia on notice because they were heavily invested in Venezuela as far as, getting their whole, because Russia is nothing but a giant gas station anymore. And then Iran, with everything that was already going on in there, with as heavily as they were invested in Venezuela. If you notice, the second we snatched Maduro, their freaking whatever their currency is, I can't think of the name of it right now, went to flat zero and is still there. So, I mean, the thing about it is, we have had these things before, and I did a deep dive on this on the Tuesday show because I finally got around to doing it. I was gonna do an hour special on Sunday night, and then something came up. Then I was going to do it Monday night. Then I was helping a friend, so I couldn't do it. So I did it Tuesday. We have seen Iran get close to this tipping point before, and they always managed to come out the other side stronger than they were when it started, which is why I don't know what we're doing behind the scenes, and we may never know until or unless it works. But I wish we were doing things more visibly so that the population of Iran would know that we're doing things more visibly. Because we're half the reason the population of Iran hates us. Nobody wants to talk about that part. There is a good chunk of the population of Iran for the longest time that hated us because when the folks that got ousted fled, we offered them humanitarian aid for medical purposes. And that pissed that entire region off. And then the folks that came in charge were like, well, see, the Americans actually hated you because they don't care about you. They only care about the oil and they only care about stability. So that's why we're here now. So they actually took what we allowed to have happen and made it part of their narrative to turn the people that were there against us. When in reality, before Carter and before all this bullshit, that they were another Western nation in the Middle East.
They were Persians, and part of Persia embraced to a good degree the a number of aspects of Western civilizations in terms of dress, entertainment, thought. They weren't all following in essentially muzzy lockstep until then the overthrow of the Shah.
Well, it didn't even start there. Where this goes all the way back to the 50s, when we're still dealing with our Cold War mindset, and we needed to have the oil. And we were concerned about stability in that region because of Russian influence in other areas in the region. So we basically got rid of the prime minister, the duly elected prime minister in the 50s, and put the prince in power again. And that led to all the other, it was just one domino after another, after another, after another. And it's just been this huge, pardon my language, but it's been this huge clusterfuck since the 50s. Which is why I think it's time for us to actually go in and clean up the damn mess that we started. Everybody talks about how, well, we can't be the world's police anymore. You know what? I firmly believe that, but I was also raised that if you started a fight, you damn well better finish it. Or if you made a mess, you better be the one to clean it up. Everything that's happened in Iran since 1956 is our fucking fault. All of it.
I wouldn't disagree. It's like, when you talk to a Venezuelan, they love what happened. When you talk to people here or in New York City, they despise what happened. When you talk to people in Iran on the ground, the actual citizens, they would like to see us come in. And then everyone else, absolutely not. And certainly the rest of the people that are involved. Let me, while I'm thinking about it, let me put this up. Occasionally you get a win. You got a lot of losses too. Here's what I consider to be a win. This is from CBS. Minnesota judge will not issue a restraining order to stop ICE operations in Minnesota. Personally, I think that's a happy story. That was one that I kind of didn't expect to see. And the other thing is, there are two people that I really, when they write something or say something, I keep adding people. I believe Gordon Chang when he writes or says something. I believe John Solomon when he writes or says something. I believe Victor Davis Hanson, who is recovering from cancer surgery for his lung. I believe him when he says something. And I believe Jonathan Turley when he tends to write and say things. And this is from his site. Minnesota files a meritless lawsuit to stop the increase in fraud investigation and immigration enforcement. You cannot tell me that a great deal of what's going on in Minnesota right now is self-inflicted, including, Honda Pilot driver. They brought this all on themselves. If you had complied from the get-go, then you wouldn't have all of this hate and discontent and everything that they are saying. People on the left, Fry, that ridiculously stupid Minneapolis police chief who could truly fillet chrome off of a trailer hitch, I'm sure. And Jonathan Frey probably has the scabbed anus to produce it. If you but had the photograph, it's like, did I not warn you at the beginning of the show, folks, that I create brainworms? But these are, as Turley says, this is meritless. This is completely meritless, and they're screaming. It's like they're, God, what's the thing that I'm thinking about? Whistling past the graveyard.
Yeah.
It's a good deal of this. I do not know what percentile, but I would say that a great deal of what's going on is a distraction. And the distraction is nothing is happening with the Somali population. There is no fraud in Minnesota, which it turns out that there's an ass ton of fraud in most every leftist urban rat cage, California, Ohio, Washington, Oregon. If it's a blue state, that's where it's occurring.
So you know what I call the mayor of Minneapolis?
Please.
One fry short of a Happy Meal.
Wait. Okay. How could I not do that? And then we get wins, we get losses. Here's another one. A federal judge yesterday blocked Trump from withholding $80 million to Minnesota's food stamp program. Well, a lot of that stuff you have to expect. And we win some, we lose some.
I mean, look, on the face of it, I really wish Donald Trump could just say, yeah, we're not funding any of this crap anymore. Problem is that has to come from Congress. So,
yeah.
And good luck with that. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Yeah, I really wish he could just go in with a red pen and say, yeah, until we get all this fraud figured out, we're not doing this anymore. But yeah, that has to come from Congress, which is why if I were Donald Trump, as soon as that ruling came out, I would have been on the phone with the head of the House and the head of the Senate and been like, you got to get this shit done. I don't care how you get it done, but get it done. If he's doing that, I don't know. I guess we'll find out soon enough, but it needs to be.
And that brings me up to basically the two last questions. And I asked Amy Curtis when she was on in the first hour.
You always say two last questions, and then it's 12 questions later. Just kidding.
Okay. So.
Anything wrong with it. It was pointing out the obvious.
So I guess the first question coming would be, okay, January 30th, the magic fairy comes in and dereses the CR and is like, okay, that's all gone. Now what happens? I think the Democrats they're going to hold the country hostage again. And they're going to do it for ICE.
I'm not sure this time because it's election year this time. They were able to use as leverage last time to get the base gen up, but the problem is I don't think it worked out. It worked for them to a point, they thought, because they were able to get 15 Republicans in the House. I think it was 15 in the House to go, okay, we'll go ahead and put that in. But and nobody understands how much because all of these people that do this thing in the lower house always get lambasted, but they don't understand how much these two upper chamber and lower chamber groups talk to each other. They're like, okay, so just to shut these fuckers up, we're going to say yes, and then you guys kill it when it gets up there. I guarantee you that happens more often than not, but because we are such an angry lot, we don't understand the games that get played on the Hill still, because there are games that get played even with our own party, and that's exactly what happened. So 15 Republicans put the continuation for the Obamacare funding in, and it died today 51-50 in the Senate. It's not going
right, exactly, in the Senate. But that's such a sad statement about the status of Republicans in the House, which leads me to January 30th, which then leads to the ultimate question that, well, Amy Curtis said it, and I would tend to agree with her a month ago.
Yeah.
Maybe a month and a half, 2 months ago, I would have said, man, our prospects at that point appear fairly dismal. Just not a lot of confidence involved in that.
They never really did for me, and I know a lot of folks on our side have been that way. But again, a lot of folks don't know this because people are just now starting to figure out who I am, because I've been a stubborn son of a bitch. But I've been doing this off and on and more full time now. But I started all the way back in 2009. I've been doing this for a long time in one form or another. And the thing that I have learned is politics, the political seasons, they're a lot like dog years. 1 year for us is 7 years in political years. So we're talking about an election that's nearly a year away for us. That's like 7 years in the term of politics. That's an eternity. There are all kinds of twists and turns that are going to happen between now and November. And I have already seen it, even though the media didn't want to talk about it and the left was screaming about affordability. You could see it with the egg prices. You could see it with the beef prices that were slowly starting to trickle back down again. They're still not where they should be because we still don't have enough of a beef crop, but we're getting there. Now that gas prices in my area are down below $2 a gallon on the average, well, actually, I guess average around here is still like $2.22. But I mean, I have this problem even with my assistant because I use Aeon as assistant to help me put my notes together, and I keep having to beat it senseless when it starts trying to give me all the consensus engine bullshit about how bad the economy still is. I'm like, okay, so compare with me egg prices between January 2025 and January 2026. Oh, there's a $3 difference. So, and then what about gas prices? Oh, there's a $2 difference. I said, that's the average at retail. What's the average wholesale? Oh yeah, I gave you the wrong one. Wholesale, it's down to $1.75 a gallon for most places. Yeah, exactly my point. And this is what I keep trying to explain to everybody. If we would stop letting, no matter where you get your news from, if you would stop letting them get you wrapped up in your emotions and actually take a second to logically look at the data, you wouldn't be so pissed off at your life anymore, because you would understand mortgage interest rates are on the way down. Home prices are on the way down. We have net migration losses for the first time in a decade, which means there are less illegals taking up housing. There's so many things that we thought were never going to happen in 4 years that have already happened in 1. So quit getting wrapped up in your feelings, look at the actual data, and decide, are you better off now than you were under Biden?
See, that's where the leftists get tax the Rick. Now I get it, because you are not in keeping with God's great plan. I just saw this today, foisted by leftists. This is from the Daily Mail, doing their very level best to inject negativity. Their headline here is, what is this? Today, banks seize 367,000 homes as housing pain spreads across the U.S. And it's of course about to get worse.
Well, of course they use the word seize. They foreclosed on that number of houses because those are the number of people that have barely been able to tread water under Joe Biden. And and this is something that my grandfather told me. If you ever get to the point where you have to choose between being able to make your house payment and make your car payment because you can't drive your fucking house to work. You can sleep in your car.
Well, in truth, and the other thing that is that I learned quite a number of years ago is this will be the final question. Rick Robinson,
over under chat
almost
over under on this is the actual final question. What's the over under, chat?
Almost swear. It customarily takes, topic dependent, anywhere from 3 to 4 to 5 years, in some circumstances, much less, to see an effect from certain things. In other words, January 20th, January 21st, I should say, Donald Trump comes in and says, I'm going to do this, 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 and this. And then everybody says, well, a month later, how come? Why isn't that done? 2 months later, why isn't that done? Because it takes time. And some of that might be the delayed effect from a lot of, let me pause it, some poor decisions made earlier, the consequences and likes of which we're just seeing now. Repos are up for that matter. Well, yeah, but people didn't expect to have to purchase an $80,000 F-150 that is trash. So time delay. See, people always say it's the economy, stupid. I think the economy, we will see a difference. And as you point in the right direction, BZ, as you so eloquently suggested not long ago.
I mean, well, we're already starting to see it, but again, this goes back to my point. And again, I blame Donald Trump for this to a point because he gave the left plenty of ammunition.
Yeah.
And I get it. He can't really make this excuse anymore, but he says he's not a politician, so he's not a polished speaker. Dude has been in public life now for long enough that he should have figured out how to articulate better by now. He should have never said, I'm going to fix these things on day one.
Yeah.
Because anybody with a brain knows it can't happen day one. But leftists don't have a brain. They have groupthink. So as soon as he said, I'm going to make things now, I'm going to have this fixed day one. No, that never should have been what he said. Should have said, I'm going to hit the ground running and I'm going to start working on fixing these things day one. Because that would have taken the argument away from the leftists and away from all the headlines that you started seeing a week after he was sworn in. He told us egg prices were going to be better by day one, and it's 7 days in, and they're still terrible. He's a liar.
Yeah, 35 seconds in, and my eggs haven't gone down. But the United States has historically been the Sisyphean rock that Sisyphus attempts to push continuously up the hill, sometimes in vain.
Designed that way, though. It was designed that way from the beginning. Our founding fathers, who unfortunately were exponentially smarter than us, and I say that even about me, understood that a rank and file straight on democracy would tear itself apart. So that's where they came up with this idea of a blended form of represented government. And our government was never designed to turn on a dime. That's why I never have understood the American mindset of, well, this side's been in charge for 2 years and things are just now starting to get a little bit better, so maybe we should give the other side a turn again. They just had enough time to undo the damage from the last time you turned over the keys, you dumb fucks. Quit it. Like all these people that keep looking at this data about, well, look how much better the economy is when the Democrats are in power. You know why? That's because the Republicans just spent the last 2 years of the rare times they've been in power undoing all of your shit. And these fucking lemmings were like, yeah, not fast enough. Let's turn the keys back over to the other folks. Then y'all fuck it up again. Then they get another turn to try to fix it. They start riding the ship and you lemmings give the fucking keys right back because everything's not happening fast enough because we now live in a society where everything has to be wrapped up in 46 minutes, not counting commercials. And I want my fucking TV dinner on my TV tray in 3.5 minutes or less. And if it ain't there, I ain't happy. That's the world we live in now. And that's why Donald Trump should have been much more careful with his wording choices because he would have taken some of the wind out of the leftist media maggot sails the first week that he was in office when beef prices weren't down yet and egg prices weren't down yet and home prices weren't down yet. He told you guys he was going to fix all this stuff on day one and he hasn't done a damn thing. Shut the fuck up.
I have always said, okay, I intuit why it doesn't happen, but I've always said politicians should be Scotty, and they don't get that. They don't understand, under promise, over deliver.
Exactly.
That was Scotty's job. And every episode, that's what Captain, I cannot get the engines to go any faster for you.
But that's the thing. He never let that secret out until years later. Nobody really knew that's what Scotty was doing until he was hanging out with Jordy on The Next Generation. When Jordy was saying, Captain, I can't have this ready for you in 2 hours. And Scotty looks at Jordy after the captain leaves the room. Okay, Jordy, how long will it actually take? 2 hours. Why, laddie, what the hell are they doing? You have to make yourself look like a miracle worker. You have to tell them it's going to take twice as long as it does because your ship's captains are like children and they need to be coddled. And this is the American people, and this is why, as somebody who is as smart and as intuitive as Donald Trump actually appears to be, I don't understand why this has never occurred to him. He should have done this in both of his terms. I promise you, I will have all of this stuff fixed, or as fixed as I can get it, by the end of my first term. And then when stuff started turning around in 11, 12 months, everybody would have been like, oh my God, this guy's a fucking miracle worker. He said it would take 4 years. He's done a third of it in 1. I mean, come on.
But no. Well, you and I have both said any number of times, Trump is.
Thank you. Come again.
We appreciate Trump for what he's done. We appreciate Trump for who he is. When he's wrong, and he's done some really stupid things along the way. And when he has, I have disagreed with him. I'd love to have him for dinner, but that doesn't mean that he's absolutely my bestest buddy. But of all the presidents I've seen in my long time on this planet, he has made good on the greatest number of campaign promises that I have ever seen from any president, period. And I mean, that's going back to George Washington. I remember talking to George, and he and I had a brief discussion, and I tried to convince him to be Scotty. He wouldn't hear it.
Right. But yeah, I mean, well, everybody forgets that you were here when God said, let there be light. You were the one that flipped the switch. So.
I was. It's true. With great beard comes great responsibility. Don't try that at home, kids.
This is why I only have mediocre beard, so that way I only have mediocre responsibilities.
Okay. Rick Robinson of KLRN. Number one, of course, as per normal, I have had a great time. Hey, and thanks for coming on this show.
Not a problem.
I asked you before, but how about if I limit the scope this time? What have you got up for KLRN for tomorrow, including yourself on Friday?
So we're going to do the daily tomorrow at 10 a.m. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to do the weekend news roundup. So the daily is again 10 a.m. Weekend news roundups 3 p.m. That's Eastern time. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I'll be on He Said She Said with Aggie Reekin. And that's it for tomorrow. Other than hopefully finally finding some time to write some stuff because I've got my own sites that I haven't produced anything for, plus Twitchy. So I'm hoping to carve out some time to do at least a couple articles tomorrow. Other than that, that's about it, at least for tomorrow, because otherwise I'd be talking for another 30 minutes, as you guys found out earlier.
Well, yeah. Hey, I have to ask you this also. What's up for TRRS? Are you going to go back to when you start at 7 a.m. for me, you did start at 9 a.m. Are you going to stay at 7 a.m. for me? Or are you going to extend the beginning of your show 2 hours to 9 a.m. for me? Or are you just going to keep it where it is for a while?
Well, see, and this is where I was conflicted, because the reason I eventually wound up moving my show is because I realized I was competing with the number one show in the nation at the time, which was the Charlie Kirk show. So I moved it a little bit earlier. And now that they're keeping it going with his name on it, I haven't decided if I want to go back to trying to compete with that yet. Because believe me, there have been times I'm like, dude, I really wish I had that extra couple hours of prep time again. But I also have a lot of folks that listen to me here locally while they're at work that like the earlier time. So I haven't decided yet. And part of the reason I originally moved it was because it made things easier when I was playing bus driver for my granddaughter. I don't have to do that anymore. So that's the other reason why I'm like, I really want to move it back. But then again, I kind of like having a break. But I haven't been doing good time management either. So I may actually punish myself and move the show back to the later start time, just so I can actually use the earlier time to do show prep and write a couple of articles, then do the show, and then do the other stuff that I have to do afterwards. That way my work days all kind of like all together for the most part instead of kind of spread out. But then again, I work so damn much. My schedule's crazy anyway.
I don't know. To me, that makes perfect sense. I have a vested interest in this. If you do, I get to sleep an extra 2 hours. So I'm just throwing it out there. That's for me. That's my interest in it. I don't know why I'm going to mention this. Sean Lewis in chat said, how did Scotty become Indian? Thank you.
Thank you. Come again.
Thank you. Come again from our two brothers, Prakim and Prakash. Thank you so much. And then he says, what's crazy is BZ was older than George. Thanks, Bastion.
Hey,
Thanks.
I just want to point out, you might be ancient, but you still have more hair than he does. So
Oh, that deserves and a. I don't think I've given a double. I don't think I've given a double hype and a bell to somebody, and it's been a very long time.
I've been on your show quite a few times. I don't think I've ever earned the hypes and the bell at the same time. So
Did you see what he said? Did you see what he just said right there? Rick, take off the hat, bud. No, don't do it. See, hair.
A hell of a lot more hair than Sean. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you very much. Well, Rick, it was a pleasure as per normal, and I'm going to do some writing and in Rumble and put out a short about this. Finish Rumble. I have to wait until Rumble reassembles, and then I'm going to see. Oh, let me ask you about this. One final question. You knew. Come on. You knew.
I knew. I asked the chat 5 minutes ago if the 5 minutes ago question was actually going to be the last one or not. They never answered, so I knew they knew the answer too.
You knew. Okay. I was talking to Gene, and yesterday, Sean decided, again after talking to Gene, that he was going to start his show in the portrait format on YouTube, and he did. So I have to tell you, because I was a photographer for so long, I was actually a paid photographer, and then I was a stringer. I used to do weddings and all kinds of crap with, Nikon F1s, F2s, Niker mats, etc. So I shot 35 millimeter and all that stuff, did my own printing, blah, blah, blah. So landscape I cannot think of doing a show in other than a landscape format. But Sean came away last night with, I don't know, 300 views live from YouTube, which, except for some crazy exceptions, I had a 300 one time. Earl had a 300 one time. I think Sean had a 300 one time. I know Jersey Joe did, but those are flukes. Those were complete flukes. So this portrait thing, A, I fucking hate it. B, is it here to stay?
Oh, I think so, because everybody that's the thing. So this is how I know our world has changed. So there are a few actual broadcast television shows that I watch anymore. One of them happens to be The Rookie, because I'm a huge Nathan Fillion fan. And on this most recent episode, Nathan Fillion had been assigned a new rookie because the FTO was actually promoted to the watch commander position. So who had the other rookie? So because Fillion's not the rookie anymore. Now he trains rookies. But anyway, so the assignment in the rookie book was to cultivate a CI. So all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, the rookie's phone is blowing up, and he thinks it's the CI because all day he's been his potential CI, because all day he's been texting him memes and saying, "Hey, can you? Since you said you could help me out, how about helping me find this hottie that I hooked up with once? Let's see if she's still banging and all this shit." So his phone's going off for a few minutes. So Nolan finally calls him and says, so he's talking to his roommate and says, "Hey, Nolan says I need to turn on channel 7. What the hell is channel 7? Oh, that's how the old people watch the news. I'll show you how to turn on the TV and get to it."
Okay. I get it. I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of, let's see, do I even have my phone? I think You know, when I shoot things this way.
Yes.
And I'm going to be honest. Doing it this way, I think
annoys the shit out of me.
this way is the lazy way. This is for people who are fundamentally lazy. Now, having said that, and offended almost everyone that's watching, of course, I really don't give a shit. But having said that, tonight I will wait and see. When I started StreamYard, I had been talking to Gene. Under YouTube, I clicked to see if I could start it portrait and landscape. When I looked at the show as potentially live shows under YouTube, all I saw was landscape. I didn't see anything set up for portrait. So at the very end of the show, I'm going to be very curious if I see anything in portrait. BZ harping on this is hysterical. You fuck. And I say that in a loving fashion, and you know it. You know it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
YouTube.
I'd be curious to see.
YouTube is showing in portrait, not landscape. The weird thing with Gene's last night, when I first pulled it up, the only one I could find was in portrait mode. I did eventually, when I loaded YouTube again, find the second feed that was showing up in landscape. So, but then again, I don't use StreamYard. I use Restream. So with Restream, it's either or. And once you've picked one and you've gone live, you can't change it. So, and I meant to test it today, but I was like in a hurry and flicked the switch. I was like, damn it, I forgot to change it to portrait. But
Here's
so
what
I
may have
probably will tomorrow just as a test.
Here's what may have happened when I started StreamYard. You can start all of these to set up, and I've got two going to. I think there's a setup streaming in Facebook and a setup in YouTube, and I checked the box for portrait and landscape as they were already being sent to set up. So I may not have clicked both as soon as I should have. I will try again Tuesday night to see if I can do that. And then, like Sean said, you know, we're going to wait and see.
Well,
Maybe
we'll find out tomorrow because Brad can't be on tomorrow. So I was going to see if you wanted to take. I don't think, because that's why we couldn't do his show tonight. His broadcast computer is having a Microsoft related issue.
Oh,
I was going to see if you wanted to take 4th seat tomorrow, even though Sean's going to be on.
Sure.
So
sure.
We can find out, because I'll make sure if nothing else, even if I forget in the morning, I'll make sure that one's set to portrait so we can test
and see stuff like that is I can see how this would support 4 or more right here. I've done 5, 6 people here at a time. I'm just really curious how portrait will somehow manage to accommodate the people that you have if you have more than 2. So I'm curious. I'll wait and see. But you know, tomorrow when Jersey Joe goes, I think he's going to go portrait. When Sean goes again all next week, Monday and Wednesday, he's going to go portrait again. So, you know, he said he's going to go on. He's going to keep hitting it to see if it consistently gets more eyeballs in YouTube by going portrait. You know, because I've said before, nothing succeeds like success.
Hey, Beantown, of the 3 of us, which of the 2 are supposed to be the cranky bastages? Because right now it seems more like you. Just pointing that out.
Him?
Yeah. He's asking in the chat if we realize we're still on the air.
But you know what? I only have good things to say about Sean. I only have good things to say about you. And I only have Sean. He ain't heavy. He's my bastage. Right? Right?
Oh, that's funny. Oh, but no, you're right. He ain't heavy. He's my bastage.
He's my bastage. I hope that I've started something with that, which may continue and fly on into the future. By the way, speaking of,
damn it, now you've put 2 earworms in my ear and simultaneously.
Thank you.
I hate you right now.
I'll be here all night and all weekend. Tip your waitress. So thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
So, folks, I think that Rick is actually going to go to bed. Say bye.
Yeah.
Gracie.
Hang on. Actually, you know what? I never do this on anybody else's show, but I am tonight. Say
Okay.
good night, Gracie. There we go.
There you go. Gracie said good night. Thanks, Rick. I appreciate it. You're a scholar and a gentleman, right? I love this show. I love being with these folks. I love doing podcasting. I love having a great time. So, folks, thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for donating your live time. Thanks to Rick Robinson. Thanks to Amy Curtis for being here. Thanks to everyone in chat. It's Thursday night. I'll be back tomorrow with Sean and Rick Robinson in the weekend roundup. And no, it's not the shit that kills you from Monsanto. It's something that's actually pleasurable. And with that, I have to say, promotional consideration is by the Lockheed Martin Skunk Works and also by the Shure and Electro Voice microphone compagnies. And my kind regards to the Arrakis company that produce my mixer. And let me take this out. Tiaras, this is new. Tiaras are by My Little Pony, as you can see. And another promotional consideration by Pratt & Whitney Engines. They are dependable engines producing thrust you can trust, and I will soon be consorting with my KC-135 Kettle One refueling team, with whom I shall be consorting in, 10 minutes or so. Everybody, God bless, take care, be safe.
Everybody quiet down now and get some sleep.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Ben. Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy. Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Tim Bob. Good night, Tim Bob.
Good night, Tim Bob.
What's going on? I was asleep. What's everybody doing?
Good night,
Good night,
Tim
Tim Bob.
Good night, and good luck.
Folks, before we go away, I want to remind everyone of this. Yes, it's Thursday night. For me, it's January 15th. For some people, it's already January 16th, 2026, the year of our Lord, 2026. But coming at tomorrow night is Jersey Joe. Look at the bottom of the screen right there. Jersey Joe, the Reaver of Common Sense, is on Monday and Friday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. And then back on Monday, it'll be Jersey Joe first at 6 p.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Central. And then also on Monday, we have Sean Lewis on the Edge of Liberty. His show is on Monday and Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern. So on Monday, Sean is after Jersey Joe. And then Tuesday, well, we've got something for just about everyone. Tuesday morning, we have Big E Earl Jackson on the Mission Ready Men Briefing, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Central, and noon Eastern. And then later on Tuesday night, there's me, the fat guy. And then back on Wednesday, Sean returns Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Central, 11 p.m. Eastern. After that, it's me Thursday and back again with Jersey Joe on Friday. So again, from me, BZ, and the folks at SHR and KLRN, God bless you all. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you tomorrow night on various shows from KLRN and back with SHR on Monday. Have a great weekend, folks. Take care.